Hmm. Well, I'm streaming. I will get started a little slowly in case people are coming online, but as you can see, I'm, still here. Hope you're all having a good day. It's nice and sunny. Just now the sun came out. It's been cloudy. Um, just a heads up, you may hear my children and the neighbors' kids. They're running around and yelling and things in the backyard. Um, so apologize for that if it's distracting, but it shouldn't be too bad. I didn't get any requests for topics or new topics to cover, so I'm going to keep working with Kelsey's example and question. And I have. Um, is this mine? I just noticed a typo in the title. Is this the one? Yeah. So I've been working on trying to get to the point where I can make it look nice, like actually take use the algorithm, but actually display it right here in the notebook. Of course, you can just take numbers. Anytime you end up with numbers, you can put that into your spreadsheet, your metadata spreadsheet, and use Google Sheets to generate a graph, um, which is fine. But I wanted to just do it all here, so it would just be one step, and it'd be easier to see it. So what I've been trying to figure out is this matplotlib function. Matplotlib lets you do graphs inline in a notebook like this. That's where we used it. We used it way back when we did the curves assignment. And using it means like understanding how these different pyplot functions work, and each of them expects a different set of information in order to create the graph. So um, that's kind of what I'm trying to play with. I'm trying to understand what this particular one expects. It's called bar H, and I really just found this by like googling, right, matplotlib um, horizontal bar. That's because that's what occurred to me as the most intuitive visualization of this. So this is an example of what it can generate, I guess. Oh, this is a whole working code example. This is great. This is not the one I found earlier, but this is good. Uh, it's doing something very similar to what I'm doing here. So I'm gonna just kind of talk as I work my way through this, like kind of like I did before, and it's not totally um, done, but here it is. So hello, Kelsey. So maybe if Kelsey's the only one watching this, this will help Kelsey, and if you're the only one watching, that's fine. That's worth doing. But for everyone else, this is how I'm going to kind of work through it. This is what I have so far, and I've done a couple things to extend what I did before. Let me show you what I did. So this was last time I built this whole algorithm based on that paper I found, and then down here I had it just returning the is it male or is it female question. Like that was the only thing it reported, male or female. And it reported that as what's called a tuple. So it's a data, like a type of data organization. And so it was keeping a formal gender and an informal gender because those were two separate predictions. And it returned both of those, and then I just had it print one of them, and that was what I got at the end of that was a list of each of my books, the full path to them, and then male, 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 because all of mine are by G.K. Chesterton, and so this algorithm correctly predicted that a man wrote these. So now instead of that, I had it return a bunch of other things as well. So things that I think all of these things will be useful in my graphing. So that's why I wanted it to report all of this. So it's returning what file am I working on right now, the informal score, the formal score, the informal gender, and the formal gender. So right here, this might be a good point to interject a bit of critique on this particular algorithm. Whenever you're using an algorithm, and I'd hope to see this kind of critique in whatever your project is, we have to think about the assumptions that are built into it. A big assumption built into this is the assumption that men and women write differently. But beyond that, there's this idea, and it's literally coded into this algorithm, that gender is a binary classification that can be either male or female. That's not really how human gender works, like how real people's gender works. We understand gender as a spectrum. And so this code, interestingly, does actually return a result along a spectrum. It's just that it has a bit that decides, okay, if you've crossed this threshold, now you're male, or your text is male, but if it doesn't, then it's female. Interestingly, I mean, if we wanted to even get more thoughtful about it, it is interesting that least as far as I understand, it's going to give you a score, and the closer that score is to 100, the more confident it is that the text is written by a male. The closer it is to 0, the more confident it is that it's a woman. And so we could also, like, given that it gives us that score, we could characterize that score as a degree of masculine confidence and a degree of feminine confidence. What's interesting to me about that is that it seems that, I mean, why is masculine 100 and feminine is 0? I mean, I guess it's arbitrary. It doesn't really matter. You could code it either way, but they did code it this way. And when I say code, I wrote the Python, but what is being done here, like the actual computation, is this algorithm that I was adapting. And so the scoring, to say that these would go up or down based on these different words, the presence of these different words, that was a decision that someone made, and that this made sense to them. But it's just kind of interesting to be aware of these things whenever we're looking at an algorithm. And as I said when I first started talking about the gender classification, none of these are perfect, and this seems like a pretty interesting imperfection, like so the kind of thing that invites some reflection. Not saying we can't use it, obviously, but just that when we use it, we need to think about what it's actually telling us. And I don't know. All that's to say, just let's be aware of these things. So let's take a look at the actual bar h function. Some of this I just figured out by playing around. It expects a lot of these values. So this bit right here, hopefully you can see this okay. I could probably make this a bit, I can't make the text, yeah, I'll zoom in on that. It looks a little better. This is, so all this is matplotlib. This is using the bar h function, and you can see this is an example of what it's going to output here. And this is us kind of working through it. Interestingly, they're using NumPy. And you know what, let me change the way I've done this a little bit to be a bit more conventional, or let's say Pythonic, to be more consistent with how Python's done. This is an example of that. I don't know if I need NumPy yet, but let me import it. Instead of just importing matplotlib, let me just import it as PLT, that's pretty common. So that way, if I do that, I don't need this here. PLT is just the way that matplotlib.pyplot is named within my code here. So okay, there we go. All right, so the y values, that's going to be what moves up on the graph here. It looks like it starts at the bottom, because that Chesterton all things is the one that is first alphabetically. So it's going to go up, and I had it go up by tens. I did that right here, where I'm building this object called predictions, and this object called predictions has this 10 in it. So every time it runs, so I have 21 books here, it runs 21 times. But I set it up this way so I don't need to know how many it is, it just does it automatically. It adds a 10, it increases this row count value by 10, and then it adds that new value to this y values list. It's a little awkwardly written there, but I hope it makes sense. The y values then are just going to increment by 10, and so each entry, each bar is 10 higher than the one below, so it's going to work its way up. And then the label is going to be the first element in the tuple. Can't tell who's crying. Somebody's crying in the backyard. She's okay. That's my 5-year-old. She's just unhappy about something. So this, the tuple, this is these chunks. Like each of these units is going to be returned. That's what is the result of the algorithm is, and the first element of that is the path currently. But I can rewrite that to make it look more nice later on. But this is good enough for now because I just wanted to see how this worked. So then the informal scores, that's the only thing I'm mapping right now. I also have formal scores. I can do both, I think, in one graph, but then those, I'm just doing informal scores so far, and that's the next parameter that the bar h function expects, and that's going to be how far to the right are we going, or you're right, you're looking at me going that way, and then the height, I've got it set to 8. That's the how high the bar is. I assume I can change the color too, but I haven't tried that yet. So if I make this, you should see a difference here. If I make the height of the bar 10, we should see that they go with no space between them. That's not what I want, but I just wanted you to see how that changes the output. I think 8 is a good number. And then when it says align center, I think that means, in this case, it's aligning vertically on the point that it's attached to on the left, on the Y value. I don't know if when I point, if I'm pointing left or right to you, but it's where, like within, as it increments up by 10, it's going to align to the middle of that, to that 10. And so that's, you can kind of see, it's pretty small here, but the little tick there, and then the blue, it's the same thing they have here in this one, where there's the name and then a tick and then this here. So to make this easier to read, of course, I could just change these values. So let me try that. So instead of incrementing by 10, let's try to increment by, I don't know, 20. And then make the height of these, let's rerun this, make the height of these 15. Let's see if that looks better. No, because it, no, it just scaled it up. Okay, that's interesting. I want to make that 60. So so this is actually going to be the same as what I had before. Okay. So I need to make the actual physical, like printed chart higher, basically. I wonder if I can change the dimensions of the chart itself. I mean, like, why is theirs so easy to read compared to mine, basically? I don't know. There is a way to do that. Let me see. I had that in the perfecting curves example. I was doing that, I think. Yeah, big size. That's what it is. Let's see. So I think this, I'm not sure. Let's try it. I think this is going to change the size of the graph. So let's change it to something like 812. See if that does something different. Nope. Do I need to import figure? Oh, I didn't. I did it as a function, not as an assignment. So let's try that. Hey, there we go. That's much better. Yeah, much easier to read. So much so that you can't see it all at once. But you can see now that this is that. I wonder if I can invert the. I wonder if I can. So they built theirs differently in this example, so I'm just trying to see how to do it in the way I would do it. Okay. Yeah. There's got to be a way to cluster the formal score and the informal score together too. Well, so here's what I'm kind of envisioning. You know, I did actually bring my whiteboard home. I was going to draw it out, but my kids drew all over it. They drew caricatures of me. They're pretty funny, but it'll take me a while to erase them. Anyway, what I was visualizing is, like, what's interesting in the way that this algorithm presents gender is its distance from 50. That's really what's interesting. And so I was kind of picturing a way, like, I can map each of these so it's like a bar, like, that's centered on, like, 50 is the center, and what we see is the highlighted is the distance this way for masculineness, blue, the distance this way for feminineness, red or something like that, or it's the same color, doesn't matter. And then that would be, so there would be some math to figure that out, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. So that's something I'm going to have to try to figure out how to do here. and this will take me probably some Googling and some researching. So you're gonna, I guess, get to see me do that on the stream here. That's all I have in mind for today. So if you have questions, like if there's some part of this you want me to look at, or some other thing like this you want me to do on the stream, let me know. But otherwise, I'm just going to try to figure this out today, and then it'll be something that, you know, Kelsey, you can use if it does what you want it to, or anyone else can use too. So I'm going to basically just kind of talk to myself as I go through this. This isn't really a demo or a lecture, obviously. This is just me kind of working through it. So, you know, I don't know if that's interesting or helpful to you all, but I think it will be helpful to Kelsey by the end. So I'm going to go ahead and figure this out. So I'm wondering basically if I can do, first of all, an offset of this so that so that this part here on the left before 50 is actually hidden or invisible. So I'm wondering if I can do, I mean, like literally matplot lib var h. I'm going to do stacked. No, probably not. Offset? Do I think I'm going to offset the bar? So this is the full documentation for it. So this is what I was looking at earlier. And these are mostly about, down here, they're mostly about drawing parameters. Offset? It does seem like an offset exists, but I don't know what that means in this context. So these are parameters that can be just supplied as you build the graph, I think. So I'm just going to keep adding to this line. Line style. I don't think this is going to do what I want. Yeah, I mean, okay, well, maybe it needs to be a string anyway, but yeah, it didn't. I mean, maybe offset is supposed to be a value. Let's try just giving it a number. I don't think this is going to work at all. But you know, trial and error. This is how we learn, right? Yeah, I didn't care for that either. All right, so that's not working, but I don't think it's what I don't think it was going to do what I wanted anyway. So let's see. I mean, this is interesting. So this is a complete example. Using numpy arrays, which is similar, it might be helpful. Oh, is there an error? Is there an audio problem? Sorry, somebody's yelling out there. So, but somebody had an audio issue. Alyssa, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm all clear now. Okay. Well, I'm back, and now you can hear my child screaming in the yard. I don't know why. He gets so upset. I don't know why. He has these just explosions sometimes whenever he's disappointed or in trouble, which I think is what's happening now. I think he's been being banished from the thing he wants to play with right now for some reason. Yeah, man. I feel like he's getting too old to do these kind of tantrums. He's 7. Okay, so sorry, distracted. So I'm trying to work through this. This is something that. Okay, this might be. Starts. This might be something here. This is. What is starts? Oh yeah, so maybe starts is. Okay, let's try. I think this might be it. So not this. Starts is their value that they've got here, but they've got left equals, and so maybe that's a way to move this around a little bit. And they did that right after informal. Well, what we have here is informal scores. The order may not matter for these, but let's just do that. Let's just do left equals 50. Let's see what that means. No, what? Keyword argument repeated. Oh, it's over there, right. Okay. I already have a left. So let's do that. Okay, so that's something. Good. So that's not actually what I wanted because it just bumped it over, but it is sort of what I wanted. So let's see, because in fact I don't want actually, 115 or whatever. I want the number that it's calculated, like 65, let's say, minus 50. So that's something I can do in here. This will be, I'll have to rewrite this whole thing here a bit. I think using NumPy would make this easier, but I'd rather just, just do it this kind of verbose way. So this is what we're going to add to the left offsets. We're going to add whatever the, again, let's just deal with informality at this point, and we'll do another version of this for formal. So we'll say it's going to be text1 minus 50. All right, so that should be, yeah, there we go. So wait, no, that's not the same. Okay, so because I haven't given it left offsets as the, wait, no, I do want 50 still as the offset. I don't want to give it the raw scores. I wanted to give it the left offset score. Now, to make this a bit more clear, let me make this offset score. I'm going to call this offset score. It's not defined. Yeah, it is. I defined it over here. And really, let's make it scores. And I should append that. Okay. Why are they all 65? I'm hearing Discord chirping, so I don't know if somebody's chatting, but let's see. Oh, okay. Oh, because I gave it the wrong. There we go. That's what I wanted. Okay, but I want to have it actually start at, I want my graph to actually start at 0 and then show me how far from 0 I am. So that's what I need to do, is figure out how to show the beginning of it. Maybe now that I have, well, no, this won't work. What's that going to do? Yeah, it's still just pushing to the right by however many I have there. Okay. So let's see. So I want the graph to show me 0 to 100. I don't want it to just automatically resize itself to the data I have. So how do I do that? That's probably the approach I need to do, and that is probably a standard kind of parameter. Probably in width. Window extent could be part of it. No. This is all getting stuff. I don't want to get things. Okay, where do my... Yeah. So this is the figure thing. I wonder if that has the setting for displaying all of this. So there's fig size. Don't know. Interesting. I think like Matplotlib uses this term artist, and I think that has to do with each drawing. And so in this case, there's 21 artists. I think that's what that has to do with. Visible. It's going to be overall. If anybody has any ideas, by the way, let me know if you have any suggestions. Again, I'm trying to, at this point, figure out how to make the graph display from 0 to 100 instead of focusing on what I'm doing, instead of focusing on my data. So, that plot lib graph extent, maybe. Container. No, I'm not really, don't really feel like I'm getting this yet. It's really just, I think this is just knowing the right term to, you know, if I don't know the term to Google, I can't find it, you know. I can't think of what to call this. Okay, well, let me see. Let's take a closer look at the example they had. This is an example that starts at 0. I don't want it to. Maybe I mean, maybe there's another way to approach this. But, you know, maybe there's a name for the kind of graph I'm visualizing, that I'm picturing in my head. So it's the kind of thing that's like, we have sort of plus or minus. Maybe that's just, well, no, let me see. Matplotlib bar graph. I want to have like arbitrary width basically. I want to be able to say where it begins and ends. Not the size of it. But see, these are all just automatically fitting, and I don't want to fit. See, this is not what I want, but I'm wondering if somebody here might have the same thing. No. Maybe there's just another name for this. So, matplotlib centered bars, center bars. Not the align. I don't want to align the bars themselves. I want the bars to be in the middle. Nope. So, well, 6 of you are still watching, so hopefully you're having some value, finding some value in whatever I'm doing here. But if you're just waiting for it, that's okay too. I'm still just trying to think of what words to use to get it in there. I mean, I want to think of it like a floating bar, basically. But if I had floating, it'd probably just be like float numbers, which is a type of number. So that's not in English. You know, I wonder. So they've got this thing here as an error, this bar, but it's kind of doing the same thing as what I'm doing. I wonder if there's a way to use that. Like change the way the error is displayed, because that's a range. And if I can change the way the error is displayed, then make it look like the bar and then hide the bar itself, then that would probably accomplish the same thing, but that's pretty massive workaround. What does xer do? Maybe error bar is just what it's called. Let's see. So this could be could be interesting. Let me see an example of this before I try it though. Matplotlib error bar example. Okay, those are vertical. So that's something, but that's not. Not it, probably. Can I make it horizontal? I just can't think of what it's called. So, okay, so I'm going to try a different approach. Sometimes just, again, the name of things is what's the challenge. And there is of course, you get the names of charts in, Google. So when you do Google, you get to see the different kinds of things. There are many other kinds of charts, and this software library called HiCharts is one I've used before, and I like, and it's pretty good. It's all JavaScript. So, but they have lots of different kinds of charts besides what's included in Google Charts. So I'm wondering if maybe I can see the kind of thing I'm trying to do here and get a name for it. So this is what I'm looking at. Bar with negative stack. That's what I wanted. That's what I was interested in. Okay. I mean that's getting close anyway. So this is what I'm essentially thinking in terms of this chart of gender predictions, but this is different. I mean, but the whole idea of like there's a center and then it's in different directions, right? That's what I'm trying to get at. So I wonder if we can do matplotlib bar with negative graph. Bar with negative stack graph. Why is, okay, let's see. Nope. That's not it. Stacked bar chart. Maybe it is a stacked. Maybe I just have to stack it, but change the colors of the different pieces of the stack, and then that'll work. I mean, maybe I can figure that out. Okay, let me just, so basically if I just use what I have, but then build it, then, oops, maybe that'll work. Okay, so let me try that. Whoa, I didn't mean to do that. I did mean to close the other ones. Okay, matplotlib horizontal bar stacked. Okay, so what is it? Somebody had a question a minute ago. I thought I could answer. Where's Discord? Oh yeah, so Allison, yes, you can certainly use the bar graph. I mean, bar graph. Yes, definitely. You can definitely use that as your bibliography. Yeah. Okay, so this is a stacked bar chart. So maybe it's okay to do it this way. This just happens to be a vertical bar, maybe the same. The data needs to be the same for the horizontal. So let's see. So I'm trying to figure out where it gets the colors from, but if we can get this, maybe it'll. Right, so how do I give it multiple chunks at the same time? So we've got It's using this ax. What is ax? Okay. Where does it get subplots? I think we're gonna need this, so let's try it. Okay. I feel like I'm making progress. I don't know if this, so, well, we'll just do the same thing. So, fig ax equals plot subplots. This probably won't make any difference yet because we're just setting up something here. So, well, it did it twice, but why did it do it twice? Let's comment this out. Or let's keep this here. Let's do, okay. Yeah, so see how you build each of these bars each time. That makes sense. So that's why I did it twice. So we're gonna do first the offset as a set. We'll say x.barh, and then we'll do, it's going to be y values. It's going to be well, it's all going to be 50, like it's just going to be 50 for all those, yeah. And then height is, let's do the same things here. Height equals 16, left equals none, line equals center, and tick label equals labels. Okay, so that should be the same, and then let's do another one. Bar H. Now the actual values. So the y values is the same. Now we're going to actually do the offset scores, which should be whatever minus 50. And then the height is 16. Left equals, do I do left 50 on this one, or just let it, yeah, no, I think not, because I think it's just going to keep building. If it does this, if it does what I think it will, which is still a question. Because I don't know if it's going to put these next to each other or stack them. Was there anything here that told those to stack? I keep clicking at things. I don't mean to. Okay, I'm not totally sure this is going to work, of course, but I'm going to do it. Ah, okay. Yeah, that's sort of what I wanted. Is it? Kind of, wait. I don't know if that's what I wanted, but it looks interesting. Maybe I don't want the offset scores, maybe I want the actual scores. It's back to where we were before. I'm not really understanding how it's combining these to get 50. Oh, maybe I do want this to be 50. Yeah, there we go. This is what I was looking for. So now I just want to be able to change the colors, and so if I can change the blue one to be invisible, that would be good. So let's do color. Maybe we can do color none. No. Can we do okay, what's really this should be easy to figure out, right? Changing the color. I get the documentation. Color, scalar or array-like optional. But like how scalar on what scale? Let's just try a number. Didn't like that. Transparent. Didn't like that. Yeah, okay. I mean that works, although I don't know if white is going to be the right thing, but that's something. Okay, why am I getting this again? Oh, I guess. Oh, because it's. I don't know why I'm getting this again, and I don't know why my size is messed up here, but. Let's see. Figure. I don't know what fig is in this. But okay, so I'm making progress, and I don't know, you know, if this is totally helpful for anybody, but I'm feeling pretty good about this. I just don't know why it's fig x. You know? I don't really know what fig is if I'm in here, and I don't know why then this value isn't getting applied to these axes. So, like, I don't know if you need to sort of send these axes back in here, you know, back into the fig or something. I have a theory. Let's try it. Maybe fig has become the thing. No, didn't like that either. I don't really know, but I'm feeling pretty good about what I got here. So, yeah, 5 viewers seem to think so. think this is valuable still. Great. So yeah, I've really not used Matplotlib at all, other than just copying and pasting other people's stuff. So this is really my first foray into trying to understand what it's doing. It looks really, really customizable, and so I bet you could come up with a really nice looking graph with this. I think the trick is understanding what the different things do, and unless you know what you're looking for, it's hard. So I'm going to need to keep working on this a little bit. So Kelsey, this doesn't quite do what you wanted yet, but I think this is the path to that. And I'm going to keep playing around with it for a while and see if I can make this work in a more kind of self-contained way, and also try to understand how these different pieces work. So I'm going to close off the stream pretty soon, and then I'll hopefully, what time is it? Yeah, hopefully I'll have time to work on it a little bit more this afternoon, and then if not, or either way, I'll spend some time on Wednesday just with visualizations, I think, because that should be something all of you are interested in and thinking toward at some point. So I will think about that. So if you could, like, you know, I always ask if you have any requests for these streams. So please, of course, let me know what you want me to do. But if nothing else, let me know what kind of visualization you need, and I can try to make sure I understand it in Matplotlib so I can explain it so you can use it there. Now, all that said, if you don't want to use Matplotlib, you can get your numbers, you can put them into other things like Google Charts or high charts or other things. You can make visualizations in lots of different ways. I'm just trying to do it all here because it's nice to have it self-contained, and also because you can if you get it working right, you could change your data and then see the result of that change very quickly. So that's something that I like about this whole approach here, and that's what I would recommend you do as well. But if you have some other way of doing it, that's probably fine too. But if there's a kind of thing you want, like if it's a scatter plot or a pie chart or something like that, then or any kind of line like a trend line, let me know what you think your visualization needs are, and then I can try to figure it out and explain it. So okay, I'm going to go. Oh wait, so there's a question. So what do you mean by a normal graph? So this is Allison, I think. So what do you mean by a normal graph? This is a kind of graph. The reason I don't know if you heard this part, but the reason that I'm trying to get this offset from 0 is that this algorithm is making a decision based on distance from 50. And so I'm trying to visualize distance from 50 as opposed to distance from 0. And so that's what I have here. These are all positive in the sense of being greater than 50, but I would want to be able to quickly tell the difference between this and things that are on the left. So all of these are reported to be masculine. If I had feminine text in here too, then they would be showing up differently, and I need to write some more code to make them do that, but they would be to the left of that implied like center axis that you see there. I think there's other ways to do this, but okay. So that sounds like it makes sense. Yeah. So it's like trying to understand what your information is telling you. That's what I'm trying to get a graph that's as close to what I think the information is telling me as possible. So okay, so I'm gonna keep playing with this. I'm pretty interested in what I've got going here so far. So I'll see if I can figure out what's going on with the figure to make the actual dimensions different, and then try to get left and right, and then clean up the labels to make them look easier to read. So, okay, great. Well, I'm going to close off the stream. Thanks for watching, everyone. Again, if you have requests, let me know so I can figure some things out ahead of time, ideally. Okay, well, I will see you all on Wednesday, or you will see me. Let's think about doing another Zoom conference on Friday so I can hear from you all kind of what you're doing and what your needs are with your projects. Maybe do that Friday. Anyway, I'll let you know. Okay, well, thanks for watching. Have a good afternoon.